We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good.
that was a zombie saying the greater good. I assume.
I figured
Nice.
That's how they would say it.
Yeah, no, I was totally with you,
All
100%. This is episode 427, and tonight we're talking about Anna and the Apocalypse. And here in my notes, I spelled not only Anna wrong, but the Apocalypse also. Not the, but
There's no
Apocalypse.
There's no L in Anna.
No, I have three A's. A-A-N-N-A.
No.
And Apocalypse, A-P-O-C-O-L-Y-P-S-E. Lipes.
Were you trying to spell Acapulco or something at the same time?
I don't know what happens. It's just when I type this stuff, I do it fast. And
Anal and Acapulco.
Yeah.
Anal Acapulco sounds like a pretty good Mexican
Don't
adventure.
make that the title, Sean.
I don't. That's too long anyway.
I don't think anal should be in the title.
No, I don't think so either. That's probably a good rule of thumb, is that we shouldn't use the word anal in our titles. This is going off swimmingly. All right. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, also sleeps in a ball pit, Jemison.
Well, you would know it, Sean.
Yeah?
The pit of your balls is where I like to cradle my head.
Oh, okay. Boy, I didn't know that's where we were going to go, but all right.
Sorry. Well, you set me up. I had to volley.
That was pretty good, actually, I gotta admit.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all, but there we are, and here we are. Sam will probably join us later. We'll find out. I don't honestly know, but hopefully he'll be here in a little bit. But making his zombie-like return, just like a zombie that you didn't shoot in the head, he's stumbling his way back onto our podcast, is Jim. Had to defeat his evil principal in order to graduate high school from the Film Rage podcast.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you doing, man? Welcome back.
Oh, man. This is the best day of my life. Talking about this movie with two of the most awesome people on the planet. Maybe three even. Who knows?
Maybe even three.
Maybe even three. This is the best day of my life.
Oh, that's good to know. And we won't tell your wife that you said that.
Yeah, she knows.
But yeah, we had Jim. It's good to have you back. We had you on. It feels like 6 years ago. When we had you on the first time. It was very warm when we had you on. I'm trying to roll back the time here to see what movie did we have you on for.
I can't remember now.
I can't either.
I just remember we had fun.
Well,
I don't think Andrew loved it.
We did Hancock.
Oh yeah, Hancock. That's right.
Yeah.
Andrew did like that.
I did.
Andrew gave it a 5.1, so I don't know how much he liked it.
He liked the Hancock. That's the part he liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good 50% of the movie that I liked.
Great. This is good news, ladies and gentlemen. Making his okay. Well, Sam sent me a message and said, heading towards Skype, I just made it home. So he'll let me know when he's in front of his machine and we can get him into the call here. But we're gonna carry on as if we know what we're talking about. And also, as I'm vamping here, I realize that Andrew and Sam and Jim don't know what our top three is because I didn't say anything and no one made a decision on Twitter. So therefore, I just said, let's do zombie movies. So here we are in the intro of the podcast. I'm letting everyone know that our top three is zombie movies. Yes, I know we've done zombie movies before, but no one smarter than me came up with a better idea. So here we are.
All right.
Yes. And and that is okay. And I just realized how bad I am at this. I have not done top 3 in my spreadsheet here in a long time. Oh my goodness.
You know, you know what kind of zombie movie I don't think I've seen
What's that?
while we're vamping here? I don't
Yeah.
think I've seen a cowboy zombie movie, and I believe it's about time for one. Do you guys know of one?
Yeah, there's a couple actually. Like off the top of my head, I can't remember, but yeah, there's a few actually. You can zombies has just made such a. It's my favorite genre of horror film, by the way. So, well, actually, it's changed. It used to be zombies, but now it's just things that eat people. So it could be, zombies that eat people, sharks that eat people, monsters that eat people, people that eat people. Anything that's eating people, I'm signed up for. Easy.
Very good.
Okay. I like it.
And who doesn't want a Western zombie movie?
I mean, that does kind of sound fun.
Right?
I'm not gonna lie, that does kind of sound fun. So yeah. All right. So we'll start off with our read here. We are what are we doing? I did say we're doing Anna and the Apocalypse, 2018's Anna and the Apocalypse. And I had never heard of this movie. This is so funny how this works. And it just kind of feels like this is the way the internet of things work. And that is, I had never heard of this movie until 2017's Anna and the Apocalypse. I had never heard of this movie until Jim said, I said, hey, Jim, do you want to come back on the podcast? And you're like, yes. I said, we're going to do Christmas movies. Let's do something fun. Okay, here's this thing called Anna and the Apocalypse. It's literally a zombie musical. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I watched the trailer. I'm like, yes, let's do this thing. So I'd never heard of it at all. And then one of the Discord servers that I'm on about 2 weeks ago says, hey, we're going to watch this movie called Anna and the Apocalypse. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're doing that for the podcast in like 2 weeks. And then someone else posted like a week later, hey, I just discovered Anna and the Apocalypse and it's hilarious. And then like yesterday or today, another podcaster, Anthony Love, he was like, hey, I'm watching. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is the
started
movie
a trend.
Yeah, it's just so funny. Only I wish. But it's just funny how that just kind of everybody all at the same times are wanting to do this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how things kind of come back. Like this really tanked at the cinemas, and it's become this cult favorite now. Like it's just anybody who appreciates the horror humor genre has fallen in love with this film. It's just one of those films when you watch it. If you like that type of humor, then this fits the bill for sure. Yeah. And it's Christmas themed, right?
It is. Oh yeah. I mean, all of our movies this month have been Christmas themed, and it's been. I mean, a little bit. Actually, that's not true at all. Last week's had nothing to do with Christmas. It was just fun. Now that I think about it, because I said we started off with Spirited, the new version of the A Christmas Carol, and then last week was Wrongfully Accused. Again, nothing Christmas about it. It's just a lot of fun. It's my favorite Leslie Nielsen movie, and then we will end the month with Vegas or Christmas Vacation. So
nice,
which is my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it all the way through, so I'm super excited to revisit it. But we are not there yet. We are here now with Anna and the Apocalypse. So Andrew, tell us, what is Anna and the Apocalypse?
A zombie apocalypse threatens the sleepy town of Little Haven at Christmas, forcing Anna and her friends to fight, slash, and sing their way to survival, facing the undead in a desperate race to reach their loved ones. But they soon discover that no one is safe in this new world, and with civilization falling apart around them, the only people they can truly rely on are each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
And for those of you listening and not watching this on YouTube, I did put an entire orange slice in my mouth and then realized I was going to have to do the read, so I then ejected it out of my mouth and have been holding it ever since.
Nice.
All right. Well, I'll talk for a second so you can eat your orange, because Andrew just got home or something. You hadn't had a chance to eat, so there you go. So Jim, you introduced us to this movie, so I'm going to let you go first. Why don't you hit us with your 5-word review?
My 5-word review is zombie Christmas musical. Yes, please.
Nice. So this movie kind of hits all the notes for you, right? Literally,
Well,
that's the pun intended.
yeah. Well, what makes it actually super funny is we saw this as a group of friends in the theater when it came out, because we're pretty connected to what happens new in cinema. That's kind of what we do on our podcast. And it only played for 2 nights in our city. So we went the Friday night and watched it, and then we brought even more people back to the cinema to see it on the Saturday night. But I absolutely hate Christmas movies. I absolutely hate them. If I'm going to watch a Christmas movie, it's going to be a Krampus movie. I like horror Christmas movies. And I hate musicals. Like, it's like, to know that this movie was a Christmas musical, and then because it had the zombies, it made me want to see it. And now this soundtrack is probably one of my favorite soundtracks of any movie I've ever seen. So it just goes to show you, if you can write good music, then it's worth seeing.
It's interesting that it's like a couple genres that you hated, but there was enough of one genre that you loved to kind of push you over the edge to go watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything with zombies in it, I'll watch. It doesn't matter what it is. But yeah, like, I wouldn't have gone to see it if it was just a Christmas movie. I wouldn't have gone to see it. I would absolutely, unless I was dared to see it, would not see a musical ever.
Right.
We have a joke on on our podcast right now where I'm now at 6 musicals that I actually like.
Okay.
Because I was dared to see one that someone thought I would hate, but I actually liked it.
What? What are the 6? I'm curious.
I can't even remember them now, but
No.
the classics like The Wizard of Oz and Sound of Music and Tommy, Listomania, obviously Anna and the Apocalypse, and now The Apple.
All right. I okay.
Has anyone seen The Apple?
I've never even heard of it.
Oh,
I haven't.
It's a must see for anybody that likes musicals or does not like musicals. It's made in 1980, and it is the most over the top, like, 80s movie. Like, think Xanadu, but like where you swear everybody's on weed. Like, it's just, when they wrote this, it's like there was no script. It was just like, we got to shoot a bunch of weird shit and throw music into it. It's beyond hilarious. And the ending is one of the best endings of any movie ever made. Like, even if you don't watch the whole movie, just kind of skip to like 15 minutes left in the movie and watch the last 15 minutes. You don't really need to see much more. But the ending is just absolutely, comes right out of left field. Yeah, highly recommend The Apple.
That's interesting.
Cool.
All right, Andrew, what's your 5-word review?
Well, I have 2. Shaun of the Dead meets Glee.
Nice.
And
that's really good.
And my second one, my new favorite Christmas song. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but it's basically the song about wanting to do Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I let my wife listen to it because she hasn't seen the movie yet. But I said, you gotta listen to this. She was cracking up. She was almost crying at the dinner table. Of course, I had headphones on her so that the children couldn't hear it. But very funny song. The entire musical I really enjoyed. I thought it was very witty and funny. The story is not necessarily. Oh, nice. Got the soundtrack there. The story is not necessarily original. It's a zombie flick. It's just Christmas sprinkled in and around it. But it's a. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. My kids love it. It's a book series, but it's also a TV show called Last Kids on Earth, and it is a zombie apocalypse book for kids.
Yep.
And it is hilarious. And this reminds me a lot of that, only, an adult version at Christmas time. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. I mean, I did have some things like that just really made me laugh. Like the headmaster that's retiring, the size of the button that he is wearing
It's so
is ridiculously large.
Oh man.
And then at the musical that they're putting on, the penguin rap,
Oh,
just rolling in the floor on that.
I have a story about that. I'll tell you guys later when we talk more about the musical part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about the penguin rap. I'm excited.
But I had a lot of fun though.
All right. Before we go much further, let me introduce joining the podcast here, better late than never, is Sam. Once tried to kill me with a candy cane, Vector.
Well, doggone it. You kind of like 8-miled me there. That's what I was going to use to kill you with tonight. So this time, I guess I'll use a PlayStation controller and use it kind of like a whip to ensnare you and then beat you over the head with it or something.
I can't imagine in that moment they're like, we need weapons. Oh, I'll know. Here's a wired PS3 controller.
Or a watermelon. 2 watermelons.
Yeah, the watermelons. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would kill anybody, but anyway.
Yeah. Sorry I'm late. I had a brass rehearsal tonight for church. So
no worries.
I am in. I'm here now though to talk about this movie.
Yes, and now that you're here, give us your 5-word review.
Oh, it tried. See, I didn't think of this before. It tried very hard.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't like this movie, y'all. I did not like this movie. Can I go ahead and just go into why?
yeah.
Yeah, go.
All right. And it had nothing to do with the plot or the actors or anything like that. It had to do with the uncanny valley. And this happens sometimes with musicals where you absolutely know these people are not singing on the set. They are in a studio, they're in some safe place where they're singing, and they're either just mouthing the words or they're just half singing, right?
Yeah.
And that drives me up the wall, right? I don't want things like when Les Mis did it right there. That's a little too much. But there is a little disconnect between the words that are being heard and what they are mouthing for this musical, and that drove me to the point where I really did have a hard time watching this thing. It's as bad as Polar Express is with the dead eyes for me.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Do you think it was because you could tell the difference between the sound? I mean, just the sound quality, because you could tell that it had been recorded and processed and everything together. Was that what bothered you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't even enjoy the songs that were somewhat clever because it was so annoying to me. It's almost like nails on a chalkboard, only it's a visual thing, right? It's the, I don't know, it's that uncanny valley with musicals that they sometimes do this. We watched Spirited was it last week? The week before?
2 weeks ago,
and
yeah.
there's not that problem in there, but I'm almost willing to believe that was studio versus on set. It's just something to do with the sound design. And I was hoping, Sean, you would be able to kind of explain what went wrong or what they were doing to make this. I mean, obviously it's not a big budget film. It's not going to have star power. But is there a way for them to fix that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, the biggest issue is just simply, Spirited was a $60 million movie, and this one was probably a $2 million movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this movie made $673,000 total.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think Jim is responsible for about 500 of that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
But I mean, usually in the case of this kind of thing, Sam, is like when they're on set, so they've already pre-recorded all the singing. It's already done before they do principal photography, and then when they're on set, they just have a dude with a boombox playing it so that they can get the dance number right. And so maybe there's a little bit of human lag from the time that they hear the words and sing it out loud to whatever. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't know. It didn't bother me. Now, in fairness, this was probably the most distracted viewing of a movie I've had in a long time. There was just a lot of personal things happening at my house that just made it not conducive for movie watching.
An easy
So
movie. Yeah.
I between kid stuff and there was some other things happening. So when there was singing, I was just enjoying the moment of some some music because life was kind of crazy for the last 2 days. It took me 2 days to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So that stuff didn't bother me. But hey, it bothers you, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of wish it would have leaned into I don't know, the Christmas more. It's supposed to be a Christmas zombie musical, and it just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of Christmas in it.
There's nothing but Christmas in it. I don't even know what you're talking about. She's carrying a candy cane for half the movie, fucking killing zombies with it. That's like, if that's not Christmas, I don't know what is. Plus they had a Christmas pageant with penguins.
Penguins.
Like, I don't know. What more Christmas?
Not been too many Christmas. Well, maybe more Christmas song-ish. It just did not feel. Did not feel like
needed
Christmas.
none of that. They needed none of that.
Sam, you missed my 5-word review, but this has my new favorite Christmas song of all time in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which one was it?
It's the one. Listen to the album.
Yeah.
Just literally don't watch the movie then if you can't get past lip syncing in a movie. First off, how did you survive any kung fu movies? Like, do you hate kung fu movies?
I don't watch them.
Well, there you go.
I generally don't watch them. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That kind of explains a lot there, actually.
Yeah.
It's That Time of Year, sung by Lisa. That's the name of the song, I think.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
if my recording situation would have worked out, the clip that I have is of her talking about emptying her Santa emptying his sack.
Yeah. That song it made me crack up, and I listened to that 3 or 4 times actually.
And the hot football players in the background, and his grandmother like just jiving to it. She's like, "This is the best. This is the best song ever."
And the funny thing is like different people, like their reaction to the audience, like most people were like kind of disgusted, but like there was like one dude that was like super into it.
The headmaster, right?
Yeah, the
retiring headmaster.
Well, not just that. Well, that was funny too, because he's in the booth that it like when the dudes came out. Oh no, yeah, the retiring headmaster. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he loved it.
He was into it. The other headmaster or principal or whatever the hell he was called, because he was also assistant, whatever. Like I don't understand this school, right? I mean, I guess when you have a low budget film, you don't have, a budget to hire multiple actors, but like he was the drama teacher and the principal and the rule enforcer and the, head janitor. Like I was really confused by what he did. But like when he's in the booth, first of all, okay, if all right, I hate to do this, Jim. No sound guy in the history of the planet ever put headphones on to mix live sound. You don't do that. So when they put the headset on, I'm like, okay, clearly.
Yeah, but they're doing a recording of it. So
no, they're not. They're there for live.
They were dumping it into an MP3.
They're doing it for live sound.
That's why I have the actual musical.
Yeah, because
that night they put it on iTunes.
But like his reaction made it seem like he was really into because I thought that the dudes was like his, because he felt like a guy that had like complete control over every aspect of this play or musical or performance or skit, whatever the hell it was. And so when those dudes came out, like like, wait, is he really getting down to it? Like, this is his kink, is like seeing high school boys not wearing a lot of clothes. But then he's like mad. I was like, oh, he didn't play
He's
that
mad
right.
because of the profanity and the implications of what she was singing, right? And
Yeah.
What does he say? Like, it's a something pornography.
yeah.
I forget what he said.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is
he
coming
wasn't
from a
happy about it.
mass murderer, so it's like everybody's got their kink. He likes to murder people, and
Well, we don't know that yet, but yeah, you're right. We would find that out later. But he he was just like, I mean, just talk about a tropey villain, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
as soon as I saw him on screen acting the way he was, I'm like, well, first of all, I know he's gonna die last and horrifically.
yep,
Because he's such a douche. I didn't quite see until a little bit too late the part where he was willing to turn all of these other people into zombies just to make a point.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
what a douche.
I'm watching this scene again right now. And she says, my chimney needs unblocking. And the way that Anna's dad turns and looks at the headmaster with this smile of like, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
The headmaster looks like he's about to strangle somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's so funny to me. And I'm
He
not
was
even
so
listening
good
to it.
at
I'm
it.
just watching it.
He was so good, and like the assistant headmaster was he was so evil and over the top. It's you go in like this. Obviously, unfortunately for Sam, this is not his kind of movie. It's camp. It's silly. I mean, even the scene where they take the snowman's head off, that's not possible, right? It's just not possible to do that. Trust me, I've tried. And it's like just when you go into these type of movies, you gotta just go into it with the fun side of it.
Yeah.
And trust me, and there's movies that I watch that I can't get past any of it to get to the fun. So I understand that this is just not your type of movie, right?
Well,
And
it's just that it's the uncanny valley. That's the only reason, right? If I think they could have fixed the sound issue, I would have been able to have a lot of fun with it.
I think you would have enjoyed it more had we watched it like together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a together movie for sure.
It is, yeah.
And then by the fifth or sixth time you've seen it, like I watch it every year for Christmas. Yeah, I mean, I put the soundtrack on, and I'm singing around, doing the dance. It's like Rocky Horror for me.
Nice.
Yeah, going back, I hate to keep like beating the dead horse here, but going back to the assistant, assistant headmaster there, he is probably our biggest star in the film, right? Because he was in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Anna's gone on to do stuff too, though. Like she's played a bunch of TV stuff, I think.
Well, I did see she was a twirler in Les Mis.
Oh.
So she spun around on the screen. Well, that was an early film for her, I think.
See, she's in the TV series, Dickinson right now as Sue Gilbert.
Yeah.
And she was in an episode of Lore, which is kind of cool. Huh. And yeah, she was in Les Mis in 2012 as ensemble turning woman.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was twirling, but turning, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
But she's done some TV and stuff, so good for her. She's done some other music videos. Apparently, she can sing. I mean, that's her voice.
Mm-hmm. That's all of their voices. All of them.
She's also in a movie called Lady Chatterley's Lover as Mrs. Flint, the teacher. So I keep seeing this. Oh, it's a Netflix thing. An unhappily married aristocrat begins a torrid affair with the gamekeeper on her husband's country estate.
Oh.
All right. Well, I like phrases like torrid affair. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So no one else.
Is that the Lady Chatterley's Lover?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an original of that. Have you ever seen that? It's like one of the first softcore porns that was ever made.
Oh Lord.
Oh.
Yep.
Should we watch it for the podcast?
Oh yeah, you should definitely. That's
with your parents, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, with your parents. Yeah.
With my parents. Okay. My 5-word review was typical zombie film with singing. So, and I say typical zombie film, and I also misspelled zombie. I was on a roll. Jeez. I say typical because I was expecting an atypical zombie film. I was expecting Shaun of the Dead. I was expecting slapstick with some humor, and I guess slapstick is humor. But like, I was expecting that if we're going to be a musical, then it's also going to be kind of silly, and that there are going to be no consequences as a result of that. Just the team is all going to survive, and they're all going to whatever, right? They're going to, go establish a new colony somewhere and be happy and sing together. And good Lord, I was wrong. I mean, when the first one to go that I was incredibly surprised by was the friend zoned dude.
Oh yeah,
Sean. When he got bit in the hand, I thought, oh, this is not that kind of.
Wait,
this is not going to have
a Hollywood ending.
No, this is not going to be a Hollywood ending. He got et, and then they just started slowly going one at a time, and then it just ended up with Anna and the douchey boyfriend and the blonde lesbian, and like that was it. I was like, I mean, when the dad went, I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
movie, what the hell are you doing to me right now? You're making me sad in my feels. Like I don't want that. We picked this movie because it's supposed to be fun time December. Damn it, and you're making me sad.
Oh no, you said, Jim, pick a Christmas movie that you like.
Yeah,
that's what I did. This is my Christmas. This
perfect.
The fact that people were dying left and right actually made this so much better for me, which to me made it not atypical. I mean, you compare like Zombieland, it's like the same characters are now going to live for every 10 years. They're going to come back.
Zombieland is not a typical horror film. That's a parody of horror films.
But this is the same thing. It's they have so many influences of Shaun of the Dead in this movie. Right, like you can see it even when she gets out of bed and she does that whole scene. That's just like Sean's scene when he goes to the grocery store. It's like almost a complete ripoff. They're totally parodying the whole Glee versus Shaun of the Dead. Like it's intentional and it's
well they are, yes, they're doing an Edgar Wright kind of feel to the movie, obviously with the music influence and things like that. I mean, yes, you're not wrong. And some of the shots felt very Edgar Wright also. My point of being a typical zombie film is that when I think of typical zombie films, I think of movies like 28 Days Later and World War Z and World War Z, maybe not. I don't know. Because World War Z is not a group that has to survive until the end.
That's true. Yeah.
Like
you mean like Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead? You mean
Day of the Dead? Yeah, all that.
Train to Busan,
like Romero stuff.
Yeah, Train to Busan's another good one too. Like that's a movie where there's a group that only survived till like one or two.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. Again, I thought that the gang was going to be singing happy songs at the end of the movie. I did not realize that at the end of the movie, like it's depressing at the end because they don't have direction. They don't know what to do. They're in a car until they run out of gas. Like, this is the apocalypse. This is the end, and the only thing they have is the three of these people and a candy cane sword. Like that's all they got, So it's a depressing film. So
I found it was the opposite of depressing. It was like they have these three people that all really don't get along together. They're in a car. They've got tickets. One person has a ticket to Australia. Like this sounds like they got rid of all the dead weight. Like this.
Yeah, they're not. She's not going to Australia. It doesn't matter that she has a ticket.
And they gave you everything they promised in the title of the film: Anna and the apocalypse.
The apocalypse.
It's absolutely everything that you were promised.
Bonus, you get Christmas as well.
Exactly. It's so much Christmas.
Yeah,
like there's Christmas all the way through this.
There is. I'll fight back on saying this movie. It does kind of have, but I mean, I guess to his point, it's like saying, okay, here we go. It's kind of like that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, right? It's a Christmas movie because it happens at Christmas, but there's no Christmas themes. It's not like, oh, we're gonna come together as a family so that we can save the bakery, like a Hallmark Christmas movie, right? like this is,
Well,
people eating people.
Well, let me just counter
Counter the
what's the
counter.
word? Counter the counter here. At the beginning, Anna is not a fan of her dad. She can't wait to get away from him. And by the end of the movie, realizing he's now going to turn, spoiler, she realizes how much she loves him. And there is this like almost Christmas story there. Like,
Absolutely.
you it's the Grinch. Like you hate Christmas so much, and then at the end of the movie, you love it. That's what this is. There's a good story there. There's a yeah.
It's a typical teen angsty story. It's a typical I hate my dad, but by the end I realize I love him because he's the only person I have left in my life because mom is gone. Like that's in every teen angsty movie ever.
Yeah, but is every like you keep saying it's a typical this, but then you go, oh yeah, it's not so typical. And oh, it's like this. So you're like, oh, it's a typical teen angst movie, but how many teen angst movies does everybody die? Or how about
not enough?
Every teen angst
not
movie,
enough.
Well,
Yes.
that's 100% true. Or it's a musical that people die. You don't get that, and it's a zombie movie, but then not every people that lived at the end are not people you thought was going to live. Like everything about this was a surprise the first time I saw it, and even when I watch it now, it's typical, I think, in the sense that each genre that's within it, but when you put it all together as a piece, there's nothing typical about this because everything's a surprise. Like, did you expect the way that it rolled out? Like when the first guy died, you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting that.
Right, but once the first guy died, I knew, oh, this is a typical zombie movie, and then I just assumed that everyone was going to die.
But they didn't, so that was another surprise.
Well, I wouldn't call it a surprise. It's just I knew she wasn't going to die because she's the star of the movie. So
her name's Anna.
Yeah. So the fact that she lived was, typical. I was surprised that the boyfriend showed up because he was kind of a hopping man for a second. Like he goes into the wood to the shop, and all of a sudden he just miraculously showed up. And I actually thought he was going to show up having been infected, and then that was going to be a plot point also. So I guess they anti-troped me on that one because again he just shows up like a Deus Ex Machina, which is fine. I'm all for those. I know it sounds like I hate this movie. I don't hate this movie. I'm just saying that the stuff that the originality of it, the musical part, again, I liked the music. The songs are great. The dancing is good. I thought the choreography was really good. I like the Edgar Wright feel of it. I liked the jokes that at the beginning of the movie, they're singing this happy, oh shucks, it's going to be a good day, Mr. Rogers theme, and there's chaos and violence behind them, and they're the most two unaware teenagers in the history of teenagers, and it was hilarious. I loved it. So don't get me wrong when I keep saying that it was a typical. I just meant that what I was expecting, my expectations were confounded, and I'm not necessarily mad about that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Did you expect to see a seesaw used as a weapon?
Yeah.
No, but like that's a fun thing about this kind of movie is like you get to have weird weapons like
Bowling balls,
a bowling ball or a pin or a giant. I mean, the fact that she's holding a candy cane on the poster, I didn't actually expect it to be a legit weapon in the movie, and also the
nice.
Again, the controller. The PlayStation controller was just, I mean, apart from the watermelon, was probably the dumbest thing ever. But like even the band of the roving band of dudes that like these guys all were horrible people in normal life, but they thrive in this environment because they get to be, dicks to zombies, and they're all for it. So they're a walking trope. The only difference is that one of them wasn't black. Like that's the only trope that they're missing is one guy. They didn't have the token black guy in their group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
go ahead, Andrew.
I was just going to say, one thing that really made me laugh out loud, and I'm so sad that you don't have the clip, but as they are in the bowling alley and they're cleaning up the shoes that are on the floor, and she croquets one into the bin with the mop or the push
Yeah.
broom.
The push broom.
And then the guy throws it and hits the janitor lady in the back of the head. The sound she makes. I thought, okay, Sean is gonna get that sound, and that's gonna be one of his sounds that he keeps forever, because it was just a funny sound, and I went back and listened to it 2 or 3 times because I laughed so hard.
Should have sampled it. Could have been your drum track. But the douchebags who thrive in the environment, again, is another, I guess if you want to call it ripoff or trope, but almost directly from Dawn of the Dead, when they get invaded by the motorcycle gang, because they're doing similar things. They got pies, and they got water bottles and stuff. So it does. It's the people that made this film are huge lovers of the genre of zombies, and apparently musicals and Christmas movies. So it's
Yeah. And I thought the writing was pretty clever.
Yeah.
When they're standing outside the church or the town hall or whatever that is, and the tree is burning, and she looks over at John, and he's eating a banana, and he just goes, potassium. Like, I don't know why that made me laugh so much, but it did.
Or when they're lying in the ball pit and they're like talking about who's still alive, right? Not Tay Tay.
Yeah.
I still
How
call her
dare
Tay
you.
Tay to this day.
Tay Tay.
Yeah, and then they had the F Mary Kill,
Yeah.
whatever, and he's like, "You're gonna kill Rihanna?" I didn't say that. Well, that's the only person you would, like again, that stuff was funny because it's kind of what teenagers would do in the moment.
Oh yeah.
Totally. So I did laugh because I was like, well, I can tell this isn't American because none of those soldiers had guns, and so all I could think of is like, do British soldiers not carry weapons? Because it shows all these zombies, but none of them had firearms. And like even the kid that had to kill his dad, like he says in the story, he's like, he gave me a bat. Why does an army guy have a bat? Why wouldn't he give him his sidearm?
You're right.
I don't know if I'd trust him
that.
with a bat or with a sidearm.
But he's like, son, I need you to kill me, but we're gonna do it in the most violent way possible. Here's a bat.
Yeah.
Like
You
again,
needed to man up.
just it's a product of a movie that didn't have a budget to have firearms, is what it is.
Or no, just a product of a movie that was made somewhere other than America.
Well, that's true.
They wouldn't have had guns in Canada too. Like it's just it's funny how you notice that as an American.
I didn't until Sean brought it up, but you're right. I mean, if this were made in America, every person in this movie would have found a gun somewhere at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just lining the street here in America. That's the way it is. I mean, I could probably go outside right now and just find one in the gutter, but
actually use one as a downspout on the side of my house.
Yeah. I mean, I have an AR-15 as my shifter in my Jeep. It's a little. But
See,
I mean,
we have to go old school in Canada. I shouldn't say that because it's not too far to get to the should I say the rural community where I live. Like you drive 20 minutes outside of my city and you're in rural Alberta, and I'm sure there's a significant percentage of guns per person, but in our city, like we have to go like katana swords. Like we wouldn't be
right, which is a good way to do it if you're fighting zombies, because you need something with an unlimited ammo. My point is that these were soldiers. My point. Like if even in Canada, if a major outbreak showed up and the U.S. in the Canadian, armed services show up, they would be armed.
Yeah, but they're in their own country. They're not there patrolling. They're training. They're probably just jumping over, big walls and going under dirt and stuff. They weren't standing around. They were probably attacked as they were doing their training.
I don't think you understand how the military works, Jim.
Well, they have to stay fit, don't they? Every time you watch
Canadian soldiers have firearms. Like you guys did help us in World War II, right?
They're not walking around the base with firearms on their hips.
But
they should.
They should. So officers would. But if they were again,
not in Canada and the UK.
They were deployed. They were deployed.
Were they? It literally happened in like 12 hours.
They said, "Hey, the army is going to come and get us."
Yeah, but they were
That
just
means
saying
they're
that.
on.
They didn't.
They're
They
on
all
the.
got killed.
But they're on the base where there are firearms. I
Yep.
can't believe I'm still
They
having
would
this
not
argument.
go without.
They would never
firearms.
have done that. There would be guns everywhere. And if the kid, again, my point is that the dad gets bit on the army base, he would
Yep.
be armed. Instead of handing his son a bat to beat me to death, he would just give him his sidearm and say, "Shoot me in the face."
Jim,
Anyway,
the
we're going to
thing
move
is-
past this. I
The,
can't
the
believe I
thing is,
spent this much time on it.
we're just brainwashed as Americans. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
I
what
don't
it
even.
is.
That's not the first thing we think about in like civilized countries. Sorry,
Not the first. Yeah, it's not the first thing I thought about. It's just a comment that I wrote down in my notes here. Wasn't the first thing. The first thing I know was it's typical zombie film. No, that's not the first thing. Well, my first note was seriously is this teacher the principal and the drama teacher? Like that part was confusing because I didn't know. And obviously he's the sound guy badly.
Mhm.
So
Well,
But
I
they
think it's his
didn't-
project. It was his like he was he was a control freak, right? So he was controlling the actual Christmas pageant because he's a control freak, and he's the assistant principal who often in a lot of small schools will have an actual other teaching job.
Yeah.
It's not like there wasn't like 3,000 kids going to that school. It was like a size of like 400. It's a smaller city, right? Smaller town.
I guess you did say in the read there, it did say the quiet town of Humperdinck or something. The quiet little town of Little Haven.
Yeah.
The sleepy town
Yeah.
of Little Haven. So I guess sleepy towns can afford multiple teachers.
Oh yeah.
I love the fact that they had the janitor up there running lights and the assistant principal's sound. They didn't. Now I will say this: I applaud the movie for not giving me the feedback trope on a microphone. I appreciate that.
Well, that's true.
They didn't do that. I would have dinged this movie a whole point had they done that. Not really. I hate that. Every time we have that trope, I have to call it out. But I applaud this movie for not doing that because that's even in my notes. I wrote, but literally this is how my notes went: is the teacher, the teacher, the principal, and the drama teacher. Second note: I don't know why, but seeing bowling in England seems weird to me because
Really?
that feels like such an American thing to do.
Yeah, but I feel like that's very British. Because
Is it?
if you think about the sports that, no offense to our British listeners, but if you think about the sports that are in Britain, other than maybe soccer or football, as they would call it, they're kind of lazy sports that they're good at. You know what I
Drinking
mean?
sports.
Drinking
like
sports.
like darts and croquet and shuffleboard. I'm sure is huge over there.
Cricket seems
Cricket.
extremely strenuous.
Cricket, maybe. Now rugby. Okay, I'll give them rugby.
Yeah, rugby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just for some reason when I think of bowling, I think of two images conjure to my mind because I like the ball. I love the ball. I bowled with you guys and had a good time. But I think of two types of people: rednecks and 1950s. Like the U.S. 1950s, where that's where the man went to escape the wife was the bowling alley, right? Like in Pleasantville. So I don't know why. It just seems weird to me. It just seems like that's an American thing only. So again, that's just a weird thing.
I wonder if they eat a whole plate of nachos over there while they're
should.
bowling as well.
With
That would make it very American.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So my next note, okay, sound guy here, but you would never put headphones on to run live sound. I've already mentioned that. The next one was at least they didn't do the mic trope. So I mean, I'm giving the movie credit here, okay? And then I started to write. I wrote wow ch, and then I stopped. I don't know what I was trying to say. And then my next note is the sound marker time code, so I can pull the clip, which I can't do. Was unload your sack. So. And then my next note was zombie killed with a spatula. LOL.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was kind of maimed because it came back, right?
That's true. It did come back. So, but again, as I write my notes, I don't know what's happening. So I just write it, and then I move on. Because then my next one was psycho teacher. I can't wait for him to die. So,
Yeah.
And I loved his death. I loved the fact that his death was the result of a prop from the play that almost got
it was
him
callback.
earlier. Yeah, it was a
it's-
callback. That was a really clever thing. So when she,
And that's an homage to one of the greatest musicals of all time, to Phantom of the Opera, The Chandelier.
Oh, I never even
Yeah.
thought of that. Yeah,
I
you're
didn't
right.
need it. I feel like
Yeah,
you're
and
stretching.
Scream. And Scream.
I'm stretching a little, but
Yeah.
Scream 2, I think, was that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd have to take your word for it. I've not seen a single Scream movie.
What? Really? Even the first one?
Even the first one. I watched the
Wow.
opening scene where Drew Barrymore gets killed.
Oh, spoiler alert.
It's in the first 10 seconds of the film. I think we all know that.
You should just watch the first one because they're all the same after that.
Well, I know what happens, and like I know who's the killer and all that stuff, but like,
Oh,
it's a 100-year-old movie. It's fine to get spoiled. I don't really care. But
Yeah, exactly.
again, none of us are really big fans of that genre, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that was my next note was like, haha, the star made a return. And then my last note was that movie was a lot sadder than I thought it would be. So that's all my notes.
It's a Christmas movie. It's tugging at your heartstrings.
I mean, it made me cry. Maybe not cry. It made me a little teary-eyed. I mean, it didn't make me cry like some other movies have, but I was bummed out about the whole dad thing. Like that was really that was a bummer. So, yeah.
But she wouldn't have come full circle unless her dad was going to die. She grew up that day.
No, I mean it's also you're not wrong. It's kind of a coming of age story with that kind of a thing. It also reminded me we were talking about typical zombie movies. What was that Zack Snyder one that we watched for the podcast where they
Army of the Dead?
Army of the Dead, yeah.
Army of the Dead, yeah.
It reminded me of that in that big group of people, they all kind of get picked off one at a time. It's like, okay, you just kind of expect them all to die. Now that movie also kind of had none of them survive kind of a thing, except the one guy. But in the most bullshittery of bullshit I've ever seen in a movie. But
Plus
it is a Zack Snyder film.
It's a Zack
yeah,
Snyder film.
that's not. It was an alien movie. They weren't even zombies. They were aliens.
Wait, what?
They were aliens.
They're aliens. I thought they were zombies.
No, they weren't zombies. They were aliens.
You're just saying that to be to
No. They were aliens. They could talk and they came down from another planet and they infected. Yeah, go do some reading on the web about it. Like there's a whole.
I'm gonna take your word
out of that because they're bringing back another one after that one, right? So. The
other one
they're aliens. It's an alien movie.
The other one that they did is a prequel.
zombie. What's that?
The other one they did was a prequel.
Yeah, they're doing this. I think they're doing a sequel to this one, The Army of the Dead.
No, well, as long as Zack Snyder's not doing it, I don't really care. But if he is, then that's fine. I guess he's not doing DC movies anymore. I guess he's got time on his hands. But
yeah, probably.
Well, he's doing that knockoff Star Wars film on Netflix.
Oh, really? What's that? I don't know what that is.
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon?
Mm-hmm.
Is a rebel moon. More.
That sounds awful.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Moving on from that. Anybody else have anything else to say about this movie? Because unfortunately, I don't have clips to play. So this is where I would normally play them, but I don't have them because my computer died.
I want an inflatable ball pit in my house.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've made that decision. Quick story. When I was growing up, my mother was a supervisor of 3 McDonald's restaurants. And so we would spend a lot of time there. And I don't know if you know this, but the ball pit is actually one of the dirtiest places
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in a restaurant. I
Heroin
remember
needles, use condoms, everything's in there.
I remember finding a ball that literally had human feces on it, and I had to immediately get out and
vomit.
Yeah,
that's fun. I'm glad you shared that.
I thought that the audience would appreciate that.
Yeah. No. Well, it's amazing.
So
Thank you.
Next time you take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese or wherever you might find a ball pit. Yeah.
I don't think there are ball pits to be found anymore.
They're not a thing anymore?
I don't think there are.
Probably for that reason, let's face it. Like
yeah.
They
Well, now
are.
we have those huge foam cube pits.
Yeah,
Yeah, like at the
because that's
trampoline.
that's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music in this though, like I think we just have to. One of my things reason I actually hate musicals so much is because the majority of the time they're replacing the songs with just what's happening in the story, but not even in a good way and not usually catchy. Almost all the songs in this were actually catchy, well written. They had a broader scope to the lyrics and the message in the songs. And like most musicals is kind of like, oh, I'm going into the cafe and I'm going to order a coffee, and I'm like, okay, what is happening here? These songs are terrible. There's no hooks in any of them, and they're just repeating stuff that the chorus just happens to be, and then I bought a bagel, and then I bought a bagel, and then I bought a bagel, and that's the chorus. These songs had a lot of deeper meaning. It had like the one Human Voice, for example, the one
Yeah.
where they're all separated from their friends, and they're at the bowling alley, and that comes on. Like there's so many songs in this that connect you to the bigger story, that and were really, really catchy. So the writing in this, not just from the actual script side, but from the music side, is one that that's why I can still listen to these songs. There's not very many musicals I do, because again, I don't care if they went and ate a bagel. It really has no deeper meaning, but these songs all spoke to me in a deeper way.
And they're kind of pop tuney as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're
They're
catchy
catchy.
enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the musicals recently that I enjoyed, right, are like The Greatest Showman, right? Those songs are songs about not only what's happening in the moment, but about their thoughts, right? They're singing their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, which I really enjoy, right? It's not I'm going to go buy the bagel, but it's how does the bagel make me feel, kind of a thing. And like that's what that movie does. So what are some of the other musicals that recently that have come out? It feels like we've had some recently that are really good. And I can't think of any off the top of my head for some reason, but besides Disney movies, right? I mean, like Moana, like there's whatever. I mean, even Spirited, right? We all kind of enjoyed the songs in Spirited because they were also kind of fourth wall-y breaking moments, right? Where like Will Ferrell's about to start singing, and then Marley goes, "Hey, no, we're not going to have a song," and then he keeps going, and he goes, "Fine, you can have whatever you want, just don't sing the song," right? Like that's what made that movie fun for me, was that they were kind of breaking the fourth wall in that. So no, the tunes in this, you guys are right. The tunes are catchy, they're fun. I do think, Sam, you're right. I guess Jim is right. You should probably listen to them off of the movie. And I kind of want to also. I didn't have a chance. I didn't have time to do that. But that does sound like a lot of fun to just go and
Listen to the soundtrack.
listen to the soundtrack. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it'll bring back memories of the movie that were positive, except for Sam. So it'll be traumatic for him. He'll be
sorry.
It's
the same reason why I can't enjoy Polar Express. It's the dead eyes. In this case, it's the was it ad libbing? Not ad libbing.
Lip sync.
Lip syncing. Thank you.
See, I would have thought it was just because the movie was terrible. It was a book that was, 15-minute read, and they turned it into an hour and a half movie because there's nothing to it. I thought that was the reason why you didn't like it.
No.
The Polar Express, not this movie. Yeah. No, we watch the Polar Express every year on Christmas Eve. The kids love it. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't bother me. I just don't look at their eyes. Honestly,
don't look
Sean,
at them in the eyes.
Sean, you and I were talking earlier about how old I am. So our kids grew up with the book, The Polar Express, and the cassette tape read by William Hurt. Every night before they would go to bed on Christmas Eve, we read The Polar Express. Well, actually, William Hurt read The Polar Express. And
may he rest in peace.
may he rest in peace. And we would listen to it on the cassette. So
the book we have has a CD, and it's read by Mr. Taken, Liam Neeson.
Fred Savage.
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Fred
so-
Savage. Wait a minute.
This is the part of the show where Sam just interjects random actors that.
Read by Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. That would be a different story, I think.
Santa sleigh.
Well, and speaking of Zemeckis and things being longer than they need to, so the Zemeckis animated, yeah, me for that. The Zemeckis animated Jim Carrey version of A Christmas Carol was on last night, and we watched it.
Yeah.
And you know, there's probably 15 minutes of just putting Jim Carrey, or I guess Scrooge, in peril for no other reason than to just put him in peril. And like even my kids are bored. They're like,
yeah,
like I'm confused. Like, why is he small? And like, what is happening here? And like, it's just, there's a lot of that in that movie. And it also came out at the time at the height of 3D. So like Marley's chains are flying at your face. Like there's a lot of things coming at the camera. I shouldn't have said that either. But there's a lot of things flying at the camera, and that movie just I couldn't watch it. I was thankful I was doing something else, but the kids wanted to watch it, and so we watched it. But anyway, but we did. I will say this. This is funny though. I have to admit this. So we Sunday we hung out with some friends, and they said, "Hey, what was the podcast? What movie you guys just do?" And I was like, "We just did Spirited." And they go, "Oh, we should watch that." I'm like, "Yes." So we put it on and we watched it. So the kids came in about 30 minutes in the movie and just sat down and started watching it with us. And we all got to watch the good afternoon bit. So we watched that, and we didn't get to finish it. We had to leave to come back, and I had to do another podcast. Sam and I were on a guest podcast that night. And so anyway, was it last night or night before? I can't remember. It was 2 nights ago. I can't remember. But we're watching the it was last night. Yeah, it was last night, and we're watching that Grinch movie, or the Grinch. We're watching that Scrooge movie, and and Scrooge says multiple times, "Good afternoon," and every time he would say that, we all shouted to each other, "Good afternoon!" Like we all like repeat. I mean, we were into it. It was really funny. So, I liked it. I didn't realize that they took that from Spirited. Like that actually must have meant something, because in the movie, in that Scrooge, I keep saying Scrooge. Oh yeah, Scrooge Dry. I keep saying Grinch. But in the Scrooge movie, every time he says "Good afternoon," people are like upset, and I just thought that was really funny. Like, oh, maybe that's real. Maybe that whole bit is real. So anyway, good afternoon. All right.
Good afternoon.
Andrew, do you have a game for us?
I do.
Well, now it's
dear.
a good time to play it, because
Let's do
I
it.
have nothing else to do.
All right.
Jim, who do you want to play against, me or Sam?
It doesn't matter.
All right.
Whatever.
So for those of you that don't know, I will introduce the game now, because usually I have a little sounder, and I will I'll insert it at some point, but not
Yes,
right
you
now.
will.
Yes, I will. My gosh, we're all over. This is the part of the show where we say, "Hey, did you notice?" Or this is the game called "Hey, did you notice?" This is a game where Andrew has found strange and obscure moments in the movie that have absolutely nothing to do with trivia or any bearing on the movie. He just wants to notice, did you notice? It's a back and forth game. Jim will go first, and I'm going to make Sam do it just because it's fun to make.
Because he's being punished for not liking this movie.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Jim, if you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, Sam has a chance to steal the point. Best out of 5 wins. Andrew, take it away.
And this week's Hey, Did You Notice is sponsored by. All right. And now on to our game here. So, Jim, this goes to you. Before John makes his donation gift for the homeless, what does he drop on the floor?
What did he drop on the floor?
I don't even remember the scene.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what he dropped. Was it a condom?
No.
Oh,
Sam.
that's a guess.
was it a candy cane?
It was his coffee cup.
Coffee cup.
Yeah, so
It was something that he was eating. Yeah.
I don't know that it was intentional, or if it just happened and they left it in the movie, because he goes to put his coffee cup in the trash can, and then it falls onto the floor as he walks away. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny.
That is
Interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
Now
All right, Sam.
I remember the scene there.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, Sam, this is yours. As we are introduced to Mr. Savage, we hear him complaining about the bulletin boards. He says, "More snowflakes. That picture's not straight." And then he mentions a drawing pen that was missing from what corner? Which I assume is a push pin style thing.
Yeah, from the upper left corner.
Jim.
Upper right corner.
He says drawing pin is missing from the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, we were so opposite.
Yeah. It's okay.
Hey, we had a 25% chance. You had a 33% chance.
Yeah,
So there
that's
you
right.
go.
And I still blew it.
All right, Jim, we go back to you. In Anna's locker, there is a map of Australia. There are several hearts drawn on the map. How many hearts?
Oh my God! You counted the number of hearts. There was a lot. Oh my God, there were so many because she drew it all the way around the country. The map goes all the way around the country.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's say 17.
Sam.
I'm going to say 5.
Neither of you are right. Sam, you're closer though. It is 7.
7. Oh.
So there were 7 hearts in different locations on the map.
It must have been like all the major cities, I'm guessing, like Perth and Adelaide. And, yeah.
All right, Sam, this is yours. What is the name of the bowling alley where Anna works?
Lucky Strike.
Jim.
Oh my God, I knew this too. I don't remember. Oh, it was something super funny too. Oh my God. I know it's something balls or something. I forget. I'm going with balls. It's balls.
I'll give you half a point because it is Thunderballs.
Yeah.
Thunderballs.
I knew it was something balls. I just couldn't remember.
Thunderballs.
All right, half a point to Jim. Got it.
All right.
Just because I never have a problem forgetting balls.
And then Sam, this is yours. During the provocative "It's That Time of Year" song, that the audience is clapping at the end, and we see Christopher's or his grandmother. Is it B? Yeah, they call her B. Beside her is an empty chair with a sign reading "Reserved for." Who?
Oh my God! It was like Bill Smith or something.
It was not Bill Smith.
Okay.
Jim.
It's for Chris.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're correct.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Chris,
because he wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was for Chris because he was off doing his shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was supposed to be sitting beside her, and that seat was reserved for him. So there you go. So a point and a half goes to Jim. You win our game today.
Well, I should hope because Sam really didn't watch it because he hated it so much, and I've seen it enough times. I should have known all of that.
It's not that I hated it; it's that it was creepy.
That's why I like movies, because they're creepy.
All right, so time for this. Awkward pause for the sound. All right, this is where we're going to give our top 3, and we're just simply going to do zombie movies. I know we've done it before, but it's been a while since we've done it. So here we are, zombie movies. And this week, Sam goes first.
All right. So I'm going to give honorable mention to the White Walkers in Game of Thrones. I know that's not a movie, but that's why it's an honorable mention. Plus, I'm trying to give myself time to load up a list here on Google. Let's say I'm going to give a Train to Busan my number 3 because that's so good. It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my Shaun of the Dead. So number 2. And then I will definitely do Polar Express as number 1.
That's a good call.
Souls, dead eyes.
That's too funny.
Yeah. So there you go.
he's done. That's his answer.
I'm done. That's
I
it.
love it.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to change.
I love it. All right.
Fight me over it.
No,
Dare you.
I'm not going to. All right, Jim.
So I will go. I guess I'll go in reverse too. So my number 3 is also Train to Busan.
Yeah.
And it's my goal one day to actually take that train to Busan. That's my ultimate goal in life, is to do that train ride.
Hopefully not in the same circumstances.
Whatever. I'll be cool either way. So my number 2 is Peter Jackson's Dead Alive.
Okay.
And my number 1 favorite, which is also happens to be my favorite movie of all time, is the original 1978 Dawn of the Dead by George Romero.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
All right.
Is that the farmhouse one? Is that the?
No, that's Night.
Night. Okay.
The Dawn of the Dead is the second in the original trilogy, where it takes place at the shopping mall, which Zack Snyder redid
that's
the
right.
Dawn of the Dead in the So if most people that are zombie fans will say that's probably their favorite, because
Is that the one with the baby zombie that she gives birth to?
Yeah, that's in the Zack Snyder version.
Zack Snyder. Okay.
In the Romero version, it was one of the first American films that actually had so much gore in it, and one of Savini's first effects films that he did. So it's a classic. I mean, the zombies are blue, so the coloration is terrible. It's campy and fun, and it's just gory, and there's just scenes in it that are just. I've seen it probably well over 1,000 times in my life.
I need to see the original, because I think I've only seen the Snyder remake.
The Snyderverse one.
Yeah.
Okay. It's it. Well, I grew up on it, right? Like it's.
Yeah.
I'm that old, so I wasn't old enough to see it in the cinemas. So my best friend and I, we were huge horror fans, and we bought the actual, like, back then when the movies would come out, if you had the book club, you'd get the physical book of the movie. So we got the book because we couldn't get into the movie. But then the very last night playing, we tried to sneak into the movie every single night for the entire summer. And then at the very last night, the guy who was the usher said, "I'm not going to tell my boss. You guys can watch it." So we got to see it in cinemas when it first came out. So it was my dream came true. And then my next dream is Train to Busan.
Nice.
Very cool. All right. My list, which is going to be pretty similar because, well, we kind of have some similar tastes. Though I will admit, I've never seen the Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. Excuse me. I just haven't seen it, so that looks like it'll be a good one to do for the podcast. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Let's see. So my number 3 is going to be 28 Days Later.
Ooh, with the fast zombies.
Yeah, that movie freaked me out, but I liked it.
As a zombie aficionado, I'm going to say it's a virus movie, but that's okay.
Well, it's labeled as a zombie movie, but you're not wrong. I mean, it's fine. Number 2 is Shaun of the Dead, and my number 1 is Train to Busan. I love that movie so much.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. Andrew.
Okay, I'm gonna also have on my list Train to Busan, because it probably, in my opinion, is the best zombie movie that I can think of. It's the one that I've enjoyed. But then again, I haven't seen that many. So of the ones I've seen, it's my favorite. Also my favorite foreign language film.
Yeah.
Really?
Again, I haven't seen very many of those.
It transcended the communication problems. Yeah, it was such a good film.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my number 3. And then number 2, I have Zombieland, just because it's fun. And number 1, just to piss off Sean, I have Zombievers.
Zombievers?
Zombievers.
Nice. Zombie.
Oh, I wish I had that clip of I feel like a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
I feel like a Power Ranger.
That's your first? Zombievers was your first? It didn't beat out. It didn't beat out Train to Busan.
No, yeah, my order would really be reversed, but just to
Okay.
make Sean mad, I wanted to make that number 1.
Nice.
Very cool. All right. Twitter did chime in a little bit, which was kind of fun. Not a lot, but we had a little bit of a response here. And so I will. Oops, I clicked the wrong tweet. And I'm scrolling here.
Blind.
So we did have. Let's see. Sean Faust just said, "I can't get enough of that movie." Drew from Across the Stars said, "Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead," and 28 Days Later. And then Harry Potter 7.2, Harry is a zombie after his death. Never thought about that. Okay. Our good friend Jessica from Opinionated Luscious said Dead and Breakfast.
Never heard of that one.
I don't know what that is. Is that a Canadian movie, Jim?
What's it called?
Dead and Breakfast.
Dead and Breakfast. Oh, it's like the spin on Bed and Breakfast, but no, I haven't seen that one, so it's on my list.
Let's see. Dead and Breakfast. Let's see. Here we go. I'm looking this up right now. Ooh, a trailer popped up. Let's see. 2004, rated R, hour and a half long. Directed by somebody I've never heard of. Stars Jeremy Sisko. I mean, it's got a bunch of actors that at least have photos on IMDb. Oh, Diedrich Bader is in this? What?
Nice.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this. I'm looking at the poster. Yeah.
Right.
It's fun.
A night at a local bed and breakfast turns into a bloody supernatural fight to the death. All right. That's fun. Thanks, Jess, for that recommendation. Well, not, I guess not a recommendation, but for that. And also... the Horror's Edge podcast said, I liked Zombieland. So,
Nice.
There you go. Thank you all for participating in that. Time for this. This is where we give this movie a score from 0 to 10. Andrew goes first.
Okay. I've already forgotten what IMDb said, but
IMDb gives this a 6 out of 10. A solid
6 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah, I had fun with it. There were a few things, and Sam's not wrong in what he's saying about the sound editing and sound production. So for that, I will dock a little bit. So I'm going to go, let's say a 6.2. I'll go a little above IMDb.
Okay. I'm surprised you're that low, honestly. Jim.
I'm going to go 8.5.
Okay. I like it.
For my favorite Christmas movie.
Sure. Sam, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5.18 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not. I just, again, it's just hard to get through for me.
All right. Well, that's fair. I get that. I was trying to think of what score I was going to give this. I was actually going to go higher than Andrew, which is interesting because it felt like for like the first hour of the podcast, I was kind of ripping this movie, but I feel like this is a movie that I should watch a second time, and again, the movie confounded my expectations, which is not a bad thing. I kind of liked that it did, and I was really surprised at how good the music is. I think I commented on that on Twitter a couple of days ago when I started to watch the movie, and I think Jim, you literally commented with, "I bought the soundtrack," So,
Yep.
This music is good. It really is good. So I'm gonna give it. We've already had so many jokes about it tonight. I'm just gonna give it a 6.9 because why not? We've already had a lot of those kind of jokes tonight. So
Yeah,
I feel like we should just.
that's appropriate.
Which gives it a score of a 6.695, which I think is pretty good. And yeah, there we go. That's the movie.
Nice.
Jim, tell our listeners where they can find you and your podcast, Film Rage.
you can find Film Rage on Instagram, Facebook, and on the Twitter at Film Rage YYC, and you can find our website at filmrageyyc.com, or you can just go search Film Rage Podcast on the Mr. Google, and you'll find us about 7 down, but Nicolas Cage is the first 6, because I don't know, the rage thing, I guess. But yeah, you can find us everywhere. And if you go to our website, I think our website is pretty fabulous. But if you go there, you can see every movie that we have reviewed on the podcast on our reviews page. So,
Okay, very cool. Yeah, go check him out. And of course, links to his stuff will be in the thing. What's it called? Show notes. That's what it's hard to say.
Show notes. And next week is
Whatever
our Krampus special. So,
Nice.
third annual Krampus special.
Third annual?
Third annual Krampus. We don't usually have a Christmas special. We have a Krampus special.
Nice.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, that's it. That's the show. That's all I have to say. Go check out Jim, and also check out our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. There you will find links to all of our fun social media, or go to linktree.com/cheapseatreviews or linktree/cheapseatreviews. There you can find links to all of our stuff too. Go buy some merch. Get that special. Well, I guess it's too late for Christmas, but go buy it for New Year's Eve gift giving for those that do that kind of thing. I don't know. Sam's birthday's coming up. Maybe you want to buy him a T-shirt. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So let's all do that.
Let's all clothe Sam.
Yes, we need to clothe Sam. And also leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. That'd be super de-duper. Next week, very excited to have making their Cheap Seat Reviews debut. Drunk Theory is coming on the show to do Christmas Vacation.
Woot woot.
So very, very excited for that. And hopefully my computer will either be up and running or I will have bought a new one and we can have clips live in the show again. So with that all having been said, on behalf of Jim, Andrew, and Sam, this is Sean saying thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for Christmas Vacation.
Yay!
We did it.